Hey Dive World, what's happening? Super excited to bring you the next installment from the Know the Ropes interview podcast series with Thibault Guignes. Thibault is an incredible educator, and I got to kind of see this back in 2023 in March when I was filming the Deep Week for Adam Stern. Got to go to some of his lectures. Got to go just dive with him and get to know him. Not only is Thibault's journey into freediving quite remarkable and the speed at which he's progressed, but I just think Thibault is all around just like a good guy, super easy to get along with, and can't say enough good things about him. So without further ado, enjoy Know the Ropes, Thibault Guignes.
So yeah, I grew up in France, in countryside, like very small village, no city around. So very used, to outdoor things, and then I grew up not far from the ocean, but I didn't have like a very particular connection or anything. Just I was a little bit fascinated, but never really gave it some thought or did anything about it. Then I became a student, and when it was time to choose what to study as an engineering school, I decided to go for oceanography because it was a little bit more appealing than mechanics or electronics or stuff like this. So that's really when the connection started to happen a bit more, because I went studying just next to the sea in a small city in France, and I started traveling for my studies in French Polynesia and in the US, in Hawaii, and that's when I was like, okay, oceanography is nice, but I want to do something more like outdoor and different. So I had tried like scuba diving a couple of times in my life, and I really enjoyed it and felt like it was easy for me. So I decided, okay, you're going to be a scuba instructor and have a scuba shop. But I wanted to take the time to do this and to make sure that's what I wanted to do. So I worked a few years in Paris, and like saving money also for this project. And after like 4 years, I quit everything, sold everything, and I traveled around for 2-3 years. First studied scuba diving for 1 year, because in France you need like some kind of special uni degree, like 1 year to become instructor. And after finally getting my instructor degree, I started traveling around with some friends, but they were supposed to join me like a couple of weeks later, and I went to Thailand, and waiting for them I tried freediving. Since then I never scuba dived again. So then I reoriented, like from the first dive I did, like really I remember still, like on the first dive I was already imagining like, okay, this is it. This is not scuba diving, this is not something else, this is it. And I had already like, I'm gonna reorganize everything around this. And that's what I did for the next couple of years, just practicing freediving for myself. I was lucky enough to be at a time where I could choose what to do, not worry about working. So, and then after a couple of years, I was still really sure that was my calling, kind of. So, but I also needed to make a living. So I took over a freediving shop in the Philippines at the time. And yeah, it was really great because it was a shop that was already running. So I had just started competing. Like I competed only like a couple of years after started freediving, and having a shop already running, I could keep training on the side and still dedicate some time to being an athlete, but still make a living out of freediving. And I really enjoy teaching as well. So for me, that's a very good combination. So overall, yeah, I started freediving 9 years ago, and after like a couple of years, I had my first shop, and then pandemic came like for everyone. But I was lucky in a way. I sold my shop like just before, bought a land in the Philippines, built a new shop during the pandemic, and now that's where I'm living in the Philippines, in Camotes Island, running my shop and organizing competitions for others and for myself, and just enjoying so far.
Did your relationship with the water change when you started freediving, or did it just kind of grow from what it was, or?
Yeah, there was one big change, I would say, because by then with scuba diving, I was very and oceanography as well. I was like very connected, very familiar with the water. I had done like a lot of amazing things, diving with whales, with manta rays, whale sharks, that kind of things. But you know, I don't know in other countries, but in France, like scuba diving is referred a bit as the silent world, you know, but until I started freediving, I didn't get this. But because in scuba diving, in the end, you have those bubble noise like crazy, actually. While I was doing only scuba diving, I didn't even realize it. And then when I started freediving, suddenly, yeah, it was silent. But that was actually the first step, and then silence, and then all those tiny little noises that you become slowly aware of, and that without freediving you never get to experience and enjoy. That can be, of course, if you think of the cliche, that can be the whales singing, but that can be just like tiny shrimps making little noises, and then you really feel connected also to the environment. And I don't know, underwater in freediving, time slows down, I feel like. And yeah, when in scuba or with the other activities I was doing, I never really get this time perception so messed up.
What about like just like internally with your body and things? Like, did you?
Like with my body, there were a lot of changes. For sure, like my rib cage doesn't have the same shape it used to have. Like it's much bigger, and this I can see just like really clearly. And mostly a sense of calmness and peace that I would never find before. And I would not miss it because I had never found it. But since I found it, I have. It's hard to imagine not having it anymore, you know. I feel in freediving you experience such degree of relaxation, calmness, peace. That's what makes it addictive for me as well. And yeah, before freediving, I never realized I had this. And it's not just a mental feeling, like it's also a body feeling. And it also comes with everything you train on the side of freediving, like all this stretching. And for sure, I'm now so much more flexible. I feel so much better in my body than before I started freediving, even though I was doing a lot of sports before. But now when I go back to these other sports, like the first few times I practice, I always feel like I'm hurting my body in a way. When in freediving, I never get this feeling. Of course, after a few sessions, I don't feel like this anymore, and actually I'm feeling I'm doing good to my body. But you know, in freediving, there is this feeling of, yeah, just softness that is hard to describe.
Yeah. Did you play a lot of sports growing up? Like, or just?
Not really growing up. That's the weird thing. Growing up, I was in boarding school and not doing much sport, but when I became a student and when I started working, then I started like practicing, but not just a little. Like I went from almost 0 to 25 hours per week for the whole time I was working in Paris. Like I would climb and do triathlon, and I really got into it like quite hardcore in a way. Which is good in a way because I never hurt myself, because like sometimes when you start very intensively a sport when you're still growing up or a kid, you overdo it a bit. But yeah, I guess I missed that growing up, so I compensated later doing like a lot of it. Yeah. But like enough to arrive starting freediving like really, really fit and with some very strong adaptation on the cardio side already that were very beneficial for freediving after.
Yeah, like why did you pick these sports that you did? You know, like rock, like climbing and triathlon and diving. I feel like are very individualized sports. You know.
Yes, I think because like it was not conscious reason to pick them at the time, but this question you're asking me, I asked myself a few times a bit like, yeah, why all these individual sport, because even though a lot of people say freediving is a team sport, like I agree, there is a team around an athlete and so on, but still we don't say tennis is a team sport, even though there is a whole staff and team behind the tennis player, you know. For me, it's an individual experience, and I really do it for myself. And it was same for climbing. Maybe it came from starting late, you know, so there was no point comparing myself to others, or for maybe more technical or team sport, like some catch up to do. I could start something new and progress at my own rhythm by myself. And also there was really, for me, I wanted to be outdoor and explore, you know. I didn't want to play on a field, or even from triathlon, I moved quickly to trails in the mountains, and you know, those multi-sport raid where you go, and those ones were sometimes as a team, you know, but like where you do like canoeing and climbing and running and mountain bike in the same event, like on several days in autonomy. Like I wanted to be outdoor and do that kind of things, because seeing other people doing it was very inspiring for me, and so I went toward those activities mostly.
Briefly describe like your journey into freediving, as far as like I'm under the impression like you rapidly kind of progressed in it, you know, like you didn't struggle with EQ. So kind of just describe that, and then was there ever a point at which, you know, you had to like take a step back and like learn these things? Or
when I started freediving, yeah, I was blessed with easy equalization, and I think this is more like genetics. My rib cage is very flexible from the beginning, my diaphragm as well. Also maybe like when growing up, like literally when my body was growing up from 8 to 12, I was in some kind of boarding school, but where it was all about music and especially choir, so I learned to breathe a lot already at a young age, and you know, we were doing like breathing exercise to exhale as long as possible to be able to sing longer. And the first year, basically every afternoon were dedicated to that kind of exercises, even before we started properly like singing and then going on tours or stuff like this. So I think this played a role. So when I started freediving, beside equalization, I had very flexible diaphragm, a good breath hold, and yeah, I really enjoyed it from the start, so I kept going, and I progressed quite quick, like in like roughly a week, I was like comfortable at 40 meters, but then I was lucky because I started in Thailand, in Koh Tao, where the maximum depth you could find was like 40, 45 meters, but I was really having fun there. And at the time, I never expected myself to become like a top athlete or to go very deep. So 40 meters was enough to become an instructor. After a couple of months, I became instructor, and I stayed there, enjoyed the island life with my friends, doing also other things. And so for like a few months, I stayed at those depths, but repeating because I was enjoying so much. That's the thing, to go freediving, I don't need to tell myself, oh, I'm gonna try to go deeper, or to, it's just, I go, you know? And so I kept going, and then when like 4 or 5 months later, I decided, okay, now I wanna go deep. My body was like super ready for it, and so I never had anything in terms of depth adaptation or equalization or fitness or breath hold holding me. It was always my mind. First, because you know, confidence is very important, and I had to convince myself I could do this. And since I never envisioned myself becoming like a deep diver, it was actually this slowing down my progression. But for me, it wasn't an issue because I was just enjoying, and I would still progress, and I was happy about it. And really competing and trying to go deeper and deeper, this like came later. At the beginning, I started competing more like I wanted to put my shop on the map by having a name a bit. That's why I really wanted to compete, but I wasn't really enjoying it. For me, it was like a stressful moment, and yeah, so it was always the mind limiting me, but in terms of body equalization, like it was relatively easy for me. But yeah, I trained a lot as well. Not like for this purpose, because I liked it, you know. And again, before quitting everything, I was doing 25 hours of sport a week. So basically, I transposed this to freediving and even more after, because I was just enjoying, and I need this in my life to have a rhythm, and that's what I like doing. So it's not only being gifted, it's working really hard too, but without feeling I was working hard.
Yeah. You don't sit still well, or?
Yeah, no, like I love training so much when I'm not working. Like I'm working because I have to, but I'm always trying to make as much time as possible to train. Well, having my own freediving shop, it makes it a bit easier for me to train. But yeah, each time I have some free time, I just want to train. So for me, it's like, yeah. And you know, I don't need, for example, having a competition going to want to train. Like I spent the whole pandemic training just to train because it was fun and because I like it.
Yeah.
So.
What about like becoming an instructor? You know, there's like some people say like, because it doesn't seem like you've ever struggled with equalization, and so if you haven't been through that battle, sometimes it can be hard to like teach somebody it. You know, like did you find that at all? Or?
Yeah, definitely. Well, and especially when I started freediving, I feel now we made a lot of progress. The whole freediving community about teaching equalization, but yeah, it was not my favorite topic to teach, especially as a fresh instructor. I was like fixing others' problems when I never experienced them myself. But you know, that's when it comes handy to assist courses and see what more experienced instructors are doing, and then try it for yourself. And yeah, but for sure it took me a little while to really get into it. Very quickly I would leave this to my instructors. but then after a while, yeah, it's like everything. When you start getting into it, it becomes very interesting, and then I wanted to know more and read a lot about it, and then did a lot of exercises for myself that I didn't need. But in the end, you know, it was really useful as well because I was doing everything and it was working, but to understand everything that I was doing, it took me years. But just this journey helped me a lot as well, teaching others. And you know, after a while, with thousands of students, like literally thousands, you get into it. You know, even though you didn't experience the difficulties, it becomes.
So what are the most common issues you see in like an intro freediving class? You know, and like what do you think people can do to best, you know, have a successful like intro?
Like equalization wise, or in general?
Just in general.
In general, I would say, it's gonna sound a bit cheesy, but I would say go with no expectations, you know, and don't put any limitations on yourself. You know, like the limits are, like in freediving, are really the one you put on yourself. And if you imagine it's gonna be hard and a stressful experience, it's gonna be more likely to be one, when actually, yeah, I would say a lot of people, they think about it like, I'm gonna stop breathing, I'm gonna stop a vital function, like, okay, voluntarily, but still I'm gonna stop it. It has to be stressful. When actually, I think most people who tried freediving will tell you that it's a very relaxing experience, and there is nothing like pushing you to go or anything. You just go as far as you feel completely relaxed and that you are enjoying the moment. So that the thing, don't put any expectation in terms of depth, in terms of breath, or just go for the experience. That's the best way to enter a freediving course or experience or discovery. After that, for sure, a little bit of preparation before can be very useful. I know that Molchanovs, for example, when register, you have some programs you can do in advance to prepare a bit the equalization. That's often what can stop a few people and be a bit frustrating. So either this or even a little session online in advance with an instructor to have a few exercises to do can be very powerful and useful to make the most of your freediving experience. And yeah, after it's just go enjoy, you know. Yeah, I'm saying this because actually I'm really a big fan of this. Like my students, when I register them, I assign them Adam's program, the Frenzel Fundamentals. And for the people that, you know, book in advance and follow it for real, the passing rate of our course went to like roughly 70%, like everyone, to 95%, because they all arrive with Frenzel, or roughly the basics, and even people a bit stressed, you know, this in 2.5 days you manage to address it, but equalization sometimes can be a bit frustrating, so this preparation a bit in advance, I think, can be like really, really good.
What sort of sacrifices have you made as a freediver? Like,
I don't see any sacrifices I did, honestly. There are some things, for example, that I could do now and that I don't do because I'm doing freediving. But it's not a sacrifice because I prefer to do freediving. It would be a sacrifice to do those things and not freediving at the moment. And I know that at one point, I'm not going to compete in freediving my whole life. It's if one day I stop competing, maybe I will keep diving for sure, but maybe I'm not going to train every day, several hours a day, and I will have time to do more things on the side, you know. Sometimes I miss climbing a bit, but I don't miss it as much as I would miss freediving if I were climbing right now. So I don't see it as sacrifices. And then, you know, the freediving lifestyle, I live on a remote island, very quiet, which is what I wanted anyway from the beginning. I'm not doing this to be freediving. Freediving brings this to me in addition as a bonus. So honestly, I don't feel I ever made any sacrifices for freediving. I'm not a party person, so for me, like having healthy lifestyle so that I can perform is not like, I don't do it to perform, it's like, it goes all together, yeah. I don't feel I'm doing any sacrifices.
Okay. Well, you talk about lifestyle and healthy diet. Like, tell me a little bit about your diet.
No, I drink a lot of Coke Zero. Let's address the topic right away. So this is not the healthiest thing in the world, but let's say I don't see it affecting my performances, this for sure. I even ran some tests actually to make sure it wasn't really affecting my performances. Not with this purpose, but some people thought so. I dared them and we made some tests in a way. But other than this, I have a very healthy lifestyle. I eat very healthy. Anyway, I'm on a remote island. You don't find many transformed products. Here you don't have McDonald's or stuff like this. You know, I go to the market, I cook, or we have little local restaurants. So, and you know, it's just in freediving, if you don't have a very healthy lifestyle or if you abuse it like regularly, you're gonna feel it in the water and you're not gonna enjoy as much. So, and again, it's not like as a sacrifice, it's little by little, without realizing it, I adapted to it to always be at my best in a way in the water. And you know, if I moved to a remote island and dedicated my time to freediving, it's also, I want a quiet, peaceful life. I sleep a lot, like I sleep at least 8 hours a night, you know, every night. When I was working in Paris, I cannot say it was the same at all. And so yeah, I rest when I need to rest, I eat very healthy, and then I have my Coke Zero addiction. I'm okay with that.
Okay. If your students ask you, like, you know, what's a freediver diet, what should I eat, you know, or like when should I eat, or...
Yeah, for me the question is more like when. But there is a bit of what should I eat. You should eat balanced and make sure you have all the vitamins and minerals and that you need, and make sure you have the right amount of proteins and all those like regular things that are not specific for freediving, that are like just regular life or for any other sport as well. Yeah. Maybe if you exercise a lot, for sure, you have some little adaptations to do, but it's not really freediving specific. Now, for me, it's more about when you eat it. Personally, I like to, when I do open water, I like to be empty stomach. I feel much better. But some people, if they do this, they end up being in hypoglycemia at one point. So for sure, if you eat, you want to make sure you eat some things easy to digest, not too greasy, and that by the time you do your session, you have finished your proper digestion, you know. And after, it's also a question of sensitivity, like it's personal. Like some people, if they eat dairies, the next day their mucus is going to be much thicker, they are going to have equalization issue. I have some friends, they eat a piece of pizza, the next day they cannot equalize. Maybe I'm French, I have cheese in my blood, but I can eat a whole cheese platter and the next day I have no issues with my equalization. Some people, they drink a beer, the next day same, they cannot equalize, probably because there are histamines in the beer and a little inflammation that comes with it make them. I don't have this issue. I can tell you that if I eat very spicy, for a few days my urge to breathe is a bit stronger. But I would say it's more like, yeah, eat light before freediving if you want to eat, and eat healthy and have a balanced diet. And after that, it's more about identifying for yourself what's working or not, like being a little bit aware. Like you have a session, you couldn't equalize and you felt you had a lot of mucus. Okay, what did I eat this morning? What did I eat yesterday? Did I have AC in my room? What was different from usual? So keeping maybe a little log can help with this. Or if you don't keep a log, you will find out, but it might take longer, you know. But being aware and little by little, you find what works for you. And actually, in other sports, is a bit the same, you know. If you ask two top athletes in like marathon what they eat, like nutrition is very important as well for endurance sport. Sometimes they have like completely opposite approaches, but it works for them. If you ask Novak Djokovic in tennis, he's fully vegan and he has like very strong ideas about what to eat and not to eat and when and how. And some other tennis players like Federer, like they are more like very balanced diet and nothing absolutely particular, you know. So my guess is in freediving is a bit the same.
Yeah. What about like, I get a lot of people ask like, should I eat before, or like eat before or don't? It's again, just personal preference, kind of like what works for you.
Yeah, like I had some periods I tried to have breakfast and actually, I had very good dives after. I would eat like 3 hours before and something that I would digest easily. The thing is, I don't like to wake up 3 hours earlier to eat. I prefer to wake up later. So yeah, it comes with personal preferences and also with what your body will let you know. Like really, I know some top athletes, if they do deep dives and they didn't have breakfast, they might black out because they have hypoglycemia. So now for someone who is starting freediving, I'm not saying they are going to black out or anything, but it's how comfortable you're going to feel, and are you going to feel like, oh, I don't have energy during the session? Or so for someone starting, I would definitely say, okay, have a breakfast 2 hours before, maybe oats with a banana and a bit of peanut butter or something like this, you know, something sweet that you digest quite easily, more than trying it empty stomach from the start. Yeah, also, you know, you're going to be in the water, you're going to have a lot of heat loss, you're going to use a lot of calories. It's good to have something if you're not used to it.
Yeah. What are some of your biggest like milestones in the water?
That's a tough question. I don't know. If I wanted to sound cheesy, I would say the next one, but like really each session is like really, especially, and more actually, I really associate open water with pleasure. It's really, really rare when I have a session where I don't come out and I'm like super happy about just having been in the water. And especially for a long time, I had this routine like everyone else, just, you know, to do my first warm-up, coming down to 10 meters roughly and staying there, just as far as I was comfortable. And this moment was usually one of the best moments of my day, you know, like, and it's really this. So I could tell you, oh, it's when I saw those manta rays or those whale sharks, but actually, for me, the feeling I experienced on a line beats all of this. I know it sounds lame a little bit, but it's how I feel. So definitely, you know, to get me excited, you don't need to take me in a very special place. You put a line with enough depth so that I can have that kind of feelings, and I'm the happiest man in the world.
What does the future hold for you?
Future holds probably a bit more freediving for sure, and I don't know, and I don't really want to know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I go with the flow a bit. It's a bit cliche, but I don't have a family. I'm not married. I live on my remote island. I don't put any limitations on myself. Right now I have my shop. I'm developing it a bit, and I enjoy there, training there for myself, and I still want to compete this year, probably next year, and after. I have really hard time thinking too much ahead, which is really weird because it's pretty new for me. Like, until a couple of years ago, I was always thinking so far ahead, and I don't know, now I just want to wait and see, you know?
Yeah.
But truly, I have no idea past those next couple of years what's going to be my life, and it's good like this.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you have like a journey and a path, but so like no specific goals or anything you want to accomplish, or?
No, I have some freediving goals. But like goals in life besides being happy, not really. Like, I don't feel I have something to leave to the world or something like this. Not at all. Maybe if I had some kids, it would be a different story. But right now, no. Just make sure I do my own way of happiness without disturbing too much the surrounding, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like you've kind of done what's called to you and what makes you happy. So what is the key to happiness?
Yeah, I think I was lucky maybe to have I don't really know when that came. Like, probably, yeah, at one point, until I was like 17, 18 years old, I've always been a very good boy, you know, like, no, but doing everything that was expected. I was no bragging, but I was a brilliant student and stuff like this. Not necessarily a brilliant person, but at least at school was, but you know, and doing what was expected in that matter, and just one day I decided, okay, but this is not gonna make you happy, and despite sometimes feeling a bit of pressure from my family about studying and stuff, they were also always telling us, my parents, how we should do what makes us happy, and they would always support this. So I took it literally and decided, okay, it just took a while to find exactly what would make me happy, and you know, and to get free a bit of the expectations of the society and people around you, and then, but once you realize it's all about you, you know, it's better.
Yeah.
So just, follow what you want to do. What other people think is not so important, I would say.
Wise words.
Well, maybe.
So I feel like people in the freediving world can be like such romantics about the water, you know, like, you know, you talk about the water, it's like this religious, spiritual experience, you know, and it seems to be very common amongst a lot of people. Like, what is that? Why is that?
I don't know, because I'm not one of them. No, but I don't despise it either. It's just, I could be very romantic about what I feel, but I don't connected to something so spiritual. I think for me, it's more connected to this flow state that you reach and that you can reach on so many other ways than with the ocean. It's awesome to do it with the ocean, and you also have this feeling of weightlessness, and that adds to it. And so I guess this whole thing combines, maybe give these romantic ideas. I don't know, I don't want to judge or assume what people are thinking. It's just, for me, it's what I feel while I'm practicing my sport is awesome. And this I could spend hours describing it to you and how I enjoy it and that kind of things. But then, I
think that's what I mean. Maybe romantics was the wrong word, but it's just people get into this and it changes them for the better, And
but
I think too, I think you kind of hit on it. I mean, so much of what you describe, like your happy places, is the outdoors,
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about the water that just amplifies it more than anything.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know, it's just this constant look for progression, but that you could find also in other sports. Here, it materializes a little bit with depth, let's face it, and even sometimes with number, with just going deeper. But for this, for sure, you need to work on the mental, and that's what's changed me a lot with freediving. I think with a lot of sports, you start talking about the mental part only past a certain level. And actually it could be very beneficial to talk about it earlier, but in freediving, because it can seem stressful, or because you are stopping yourself from this vital function, breathing, you start addressing mental issues and from the beginning, and that's also what makes it so passionating and addictive. But so you explore your mind and the mental part of it from the beginning, and in this I find it very special, and probably that's what creates this connection as well with the ocean.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like as you go even deeper, you add the Narcosis to this, and it becomes even a more special experience, because to me it's just amplified this feeling of well-being and euphoria, and then it becomes really like almost like a psychedelic experience.
Okay. Were you ever have moments where like the NARC did the opposite? Like
no, never.
It was always like a calming thing, or?
Yeah, no, for me it was like, it's always something that feels good, and that doesn't mean it cannot mess with my dives, but it doesn't mess with with feeling good.
Yeah. Do you ever spearfish? Do you have any take on spearfishing, or?
No, I'm a very bad spearfisher. No, but I like the hunt and the thrill of looking for the fish, and even like shooting it in a way, but just after I feel bad. And I know it's not rational, it's stupid, because I buy fish from the market that have been killed by someone else. It's just when I do it myself, I feel bad after. And honestly, I don't have that much time either. Although probably I would do it more if I had more time. I have some of my instructors in my shop, they go and sometimes they offer to come, and I'm like, but I have this to do and this to do. But I have zero advice to give. Like, anyone would be better than me to give advice about spearfishing. But I love the idea of eating the food that I fished myself, and like makes me feel bad, but I would still prefer doing this than just buying fish like this as well. Like, I love the concept. And in the place I am exactly, in Philippines, in Camotes, my instructors that spearfish, they are just starting to explore around. They are starting to find some nice spots, and Camotes Island, there are like 3 islands, 2 twin islands, the one a little bit more developed. It's still very quiet and very green. But then there is this 3rd island, which is with even less population and very close. And actually, in the next days, when I come back from Deep Week, we are planning to go explore there, because we hear a lot of good things from both local spearfishers like from my island and from the island there, and they say there it's fantastic. So we are going to try to do a trip there. But yeah, same. I don't have enough time to even get interested in where are the good spots, so I'm sorry not to be able to.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about where we're at.
Yeah, so we are in Coron, in west of Philippines, and like it's a crazy place, like both outside and inside the water. Like that's what makes it so special as well. Like those peaks with like directly in the water with white sand beach at the bottom and like the green on top, and underwater like corals and wrecks and marine life. Like such a beautiful place. And for Deep Week, it's the perfect setup. Like honestly, Coron is small, but you still have a lot of nice little restaurants with good food. We go in the morning. In 20 minutes, we're in Barracuda Lake, where conditions are always absolutely perfect. Okay, we're a bit limited in depth, but for a Deep Week, it's perfect. 40 meters, we can still do a lot of things. And the people will see it on your videos, like the Barracuda Lake underwater. Like, I don't even know how to describe it in English. Like, how would you say, like an underwater cathedral?
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, like those structures of rocks underwater like are so special. And then you are in fresh water, which is very enjoyable, and you go down to 15 meters and suddenly you're like in 35 degrees water and salty water. So just this is a very special experience that in my freediving career I never experienced anywhere else. A bit in the cenotes, you have the same in Mexico, the same kind of, but here it's like massive cenotes where you can put all those people from Deep Week together and it still looks empty because it's so huge, and then you can go explore after the session and take some pictures or have fun. Like, it's really perfect setup because of course it's a lake, so no wave, no current, everything perfect conditions every day. And then we go back 15-20 minutes, we are here in Coron, then we do the workshops. Everyone's staying around the same place, so it's really cool, really easy. No, for me, one of my favorite Deep Weeks ever.
Awesome. So you've done a couple then?
I've done, I think that's my fifth one now, fifth. Okay. Hopefully not the last.
Yeah.
I love those events.
Yeah, what is a Deep Week? How do you describe it?
It's, I don't know, just imagine 100 freedivers, some completely new, some way more experienced, all joining together. So for this you need like 30 instructors, if not more, and then going out every day all together in the water, having fun, practicing, and then you have some top athletes that comes and give workshops and share with everyone, plus the yoga, the meditation, and the additional stuff like every day. And then in the middle you go and explore here all those wrecks and do some snorkeling, or today people went spearfishing or see the dugong and the manta ray, and all of this in just one single week and with the best vibes ever. Like, yeah, and of course it ends up always with a crazy party. Like, it's really the perfect week to discover freediving, to learn more about freediving. You get to see some of the best athletes in the world coming to share their experience and knowledge with you. And you make your first freediving network. You make some friends, future buddies. For me, it's like, yeah, Adam with Deep Week created something really, really special. And I'm not gonna lie, when I heard the first time about it, I was very skeptical about it. I was like, oh, what is this? And then I went, I saw, and I was like, this is just awesome. And so now I want to be in every one of them.
Okay, then what about Adam? Who is Adam? How do you describe, how the hell does he have this much energy?
I don't know. And it's not just the energy, you know. I feel I have a lot of energy. I'm doing a lot of things. You were asking, when do I sleep? But Adam always does all of this with a big smile, laughing, never getting frustrated or angry or anything, or at least never showing it. Like, I really look up to him for this, and a few times stuff happened in my business and I was like, what would Adam do? Like, really, like, for me, like, he really, yeah, it's his personality, the energy he has, the vibes he gives to these events is like, and like, yeah, the years we became very good friends, and but yeah, he's really someone special.
Awesome.
Yeah, but don't tell everyone, but half of it is Erin as well, his wife.
Oh, okay.
It's a secret.
All right. Anything you want to say that you haven't said? Any tasty nuggets of wisdom you have here you want to?
I'm gonna sound cheesy again.
The cheese. I mean, you eat a lot of it.
Yeah,
so.
true. For French people, it's normal, I guess. I would just say, in terms of like freediving, just enjoy it. If you go freediving, no one's really forcing you to do it, and so just enjoy being there. Don't put pressure on yourself. Don't have expectations of performance. Like, the best way, even if you're into performance, the best way to perform is to enjoy. And it's such a crazy journey. If you haven't taken it yet, give it a try. And if you are into it, keep enjoying.